and shine. It's the Wake Up Show, where every sunrise is a call to action. Powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, we are the champions of change, advocating for diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility in the world of corporate and government contracting. It's not just a show, it's a movement. So get ready for another dynamic journey as we wake up the world to a new era of opportunities and empowerment. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Ives.
Good morning, Chicago. It's LaDonna Ray. Tell you, I'm so excited to be here. Happy Saturday to you all. And here's the deal. We are brought to you on the Wake Up Show Chicago by Wind Creek Casino. This is why we're here, okay? That and WVON. Come on, somebody. But I am a proud member of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce, and I want to welcome you all to the Wake Up Show Chicago. Now, this show and this entire episode is brought to you by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. And we're here each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Central. And we're coming to you live, of course, on WVON. Yes, Black media is so important. 1690 a.m. and streaming everywhere in the world on iHeartRadio. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, and that's at Wake Up Show Chicago for exclusive content. Now, write this number down. And you can call in now if you'd like. 773-591-1690. If you save it in your phone, you'll always have it. But before we dive into today's discussion, I have to introduce the man that I'm normally co-host to, and that is our CEO of the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and also the chairman of the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce in Washington, D.C. But that's Larry Ivory and, oh, excuse me, or should I say Dr. Larry Ivory. That's right. He's not joining us today because he is out receiving his honorary doctorate. Congratulations to him on such a well-deserved honor. But guess who's co-hosting with me today? Our assistant producer and actor and public speaker, Mr. Lorenzo T. Hughes.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? WVON and the WVON audience.
Now, see, this is what I'm talking about. We step in when Larry has to step out. So today we have a very special guest, and he doesn't need an introduction. But for those of you that don't know who Gregory Willis is, he is a seasoned public affairs professional with over 20 years of experience on Capitol Hill. He has served as a legislative aide, a lobbyist, and a political strategist, and currently holds the position of VP at Phoenix Strategies, a full-service lobbying firm based right in the heart of D.C. Ladies, we have Mr. Gregory Willis. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having me today.
Of course, we need to jump right in because I know you got a lot of work that you have under your belt. And what are the current issues in DC that Black businesses absolutely need to be paying attention right now?
So let's take a level set of what's kind of going on with this administration that we just entered into, and kind of give you a look at what they're attempting to do to Black businesses and Black economic growth. Quite frankly, they're trying to turn back the clock. And so we're at a turning point, and not in a good way for Black businesses in America. Since returning to office, President Trump has signed a series of executive orders that is systematically dismantling federal support for Black-owned businesses. These orders target two of the most essential tools we've used to fight economic exclusion, right? The DEI inclusion programs, in whatever iteration they come in, and access to capital through the community development financial institutions. Let's start with the DEI, the assault on DEI, right? So in Executive Order 14099, President Trump is instructed all federal agencies to review, eliminate, reclassify programs that consider race, ethnicity, or gender as a factor in federal contracting, education grants, workforce development, or technical assistance. So what does that mean? It means that the 8A program, which was already under assault, is under further review, and they're attempting to essentially effectively end it. Federal agencies have paused or canceled race-conscious contracting goals, even in infrastructure and technology where minority participation was already lagging. So there may have been a performance plan, a subcontracting plan to use a certain amount of minority businesses, those are gone. Supplier diversity offices within the federal agencies. So each office had someone that looked out for minority businesses or Black businesses. Those have been dismantled or restructured under new race neutral mandates. I'll throw in the Minority Business Development Agency, right? Which provided technical assistance through grants around the country for minority businesses seeking to do contracting with the federal government. They had 100 or so employees when this administration came in. They're down to 3 employees.
Mm-hmm.
So they're dismantling all of these things. Then we get to the CDFIs, right? This is where we went and we go to get funding for our businesses, especially those that are in a growth cycle, right? So Trump issued another executive order targeting those CDFIs and minority depository institutions. He's accusing them of unlawfully prioritizing applicants on the basis of race. So the Department of Treasury suspended all grants to discretionary grants to CDFIs and MDIs. The CDFI fund is being restructured. And so any institution that openly supports racial equity in lending may be excluded from future funding from the CDFI fund.
Mm-hmm.
CDFIs are under pressure to scrub any equity language from their mission statement, loan programs, or outreach efforts. Now, this is devastating for Black businesses. These executive orders taken together are an attempt to choke off the pathways that have helped us build wealth, access to capital, and secure federal contracts.
I can't help but ask this one question that keeps coming up in my head. When you hear the rollback on DEI efforts and anything to do with race inclusion and now exclusion of it based on race, how can Black businesses, organizations, initiatives, nonprofits, corporations pivot without using the word race, without leveraging the race card?
So there's some technical ways that we can do this, right? So one of the programs that when I was on Capitol Hill, I helped manage these programs from a policy perspective was called the Hub Zone program. It's more of a place-based access to capital programs or access to contracts program as opposed to race-based. Now, the dirty little secret is that most of us live in the same areas, and those tend to be high poverty areas with low access to capital and those kinds of things. So we can restructure our programming to basically hit the same populations without using race as a factor. So that's one of the things and that's at a policy governmental, level. So you need to be advocating with your local, which is extremely important now, your local city governments, your county governments, your state level governments. Because a lot of times, like in a city like Chicago with the Black mayor, you have access to that power base. And so you need to actually leverage that. So that's one of the things we can do. The other thing that we can do, especially with corporate folks and their supply diversity programs, we have to remind them of how much we do business with them, right? And so we're getting that data here from a number of different sources to put together so we can give it to you in a shorthand. But some of these companies, they're more than happy to take your dollars. They're more than happy to have you come in their doors. But they don't want to do business with you. And so we need to basically name those folks and shame them or go have a private conversation with them first and see if they're going to get right. And if not.
And see, you mentioned conversation. And I remember not too long ago, I was saying how the importance of building relationships, because relationships are still very prevalent when it comes to making business or doing business.
Absolutely.
Business deals are done on the golf course, right?
Absolutely. You have to. I know that folks like the Black Chamber and other folks they had that relationship that's been ongoing for years, right? And now it's time to kind of leverage those relationships in a way that basically continues to keep the door open for contracting opportunities for your businesses.
Lorenzo?
Yeah, Mr. Willis, a quick question. When you look at other cultures, such as like the your East Indian culture, you have your Jewish culture, you even have your Asian culture. Moving forward, what is it that we need to do so that we can build business communities the way they have built business communities. I get the concern of the exclusion and the dismantling of the growth of black businesses. We see that it's obvious now. We have open discrimination, open racism.
Right.
Now that we can see it and we're experiencing, what do we need to do to build similar business communities as we see those doing around us?
So we almost have to go backwards to go forward, to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? But prior to integration, we had those communities. We had black banks. We had the black dry cleaners or whomsoever in our communities, and we did business with them because we were forced to. What we didn't, I think, recognize at that point was that was a strength.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a weakness. And I think others in other communities understood that was a strength, and so they dismantled it, right? And so we have to kind of go to that. You have to basically seek out. I mean, look, perfect example myself. I was going to go buy a new pair of shoes, right? And I said, let me get some Nikes or some Adidas or something. It's like, no, I'm going to make a conscious decision to buy from a black-owned shoe company.
Yes.
And so we have to make conscious decisions to spend our money, and that's where it starts. Then we have to make another really important thing we have to do. Open an account with Black Bank. We have to do that. We have
and
to
keep more than 87 cents in there.
Right.
Because that you can open the account and then you put your first 50 in there and remember, oh, I've got this card, and use $43.79, and now you've left, just under $7.
Right. You gotta fund the account. You gotta fund the account once you get it, and do business out of that account, and try to do business with that bank. I mean, the more that we fund our own institutions like that, the more we'll have access to an ability to do business loans, and because they're under capitalization restrictions, so that they can't do lending. So if they have capitalization, they can lend to our businesses to grow them. So those are a couple of things we can do.
Tell me if I'm going too far in the weeds, and if this is not what you can answer for me. But I've often heard the rhetoric about Black institutions or financial institutions where there might be some inconveniences and they may not have the infrastructure for certain conveniences, such as peer-to-peer transfer. I guess I could say it's Zelle.
Mhm.
Is that intentional? Like, is there a reason why our financial institutions don't participate in such conveniences?
Well, I'm speculating on this because this is not my area of expertise, but I think
Okay, no
market
problem.
capitalization has a lot to do with that. We just aren't capitalized to the extent that other institutions are. And that makes a difference in your ability. Look, I can't spend X amount of dollars on that kind of upgrade. Now, that is not all Black banks. Some Black banks
Right.
have that, and you need to seek those out if that's a convenience that's important to you.
Mhm.
But there are options out there. Some of our banks are becoming quite large and regional, if not national in nature.
Yeah, I just want people to understand that our lack of participation is why we can't move forward in our own institutions. You gotta fund it. Like, these larger corporations that have funded, they've had legacy funding.
Absolutely.
And we have not. We've had to start over and over and over, and we're not participating. But we'll run to Chase. We'll run to Wells Fargo.
And the thing that's really interesting with you talking about banks and everything is we fail to realize is you why would you want to bank somewhere with a bank that refuses to give you a loan?
Right.
And we'll still bank with them. Even though they refuse, even though you're lending them your money,
Absolutely.
they refuse to give you a loan. So when we talk about banking Black and doing business Black, we're talking about banking and doing business in safe spaces where
Right.
people are comfortable with you, where you feel safe banking and doing business with them.
Right. Absolutely. And you'll put your money in these banks and they'll give you a quarter point a year on your money and turn around and lend it out for 11, 12% if you can get the loan.
That's right.
Right.
So we got to do business with ourselves. We have to get over kind of a mental hurdle. I think it's as much about changing our mindset as it is changing our behaviors. You change your mind, you'll change your behaviors. We have to understand that it's okay to do business with Black folks, right? People who look like you. Because I tell you what, other communities are doing business with us, but they're coming in and they're taking advantage of our people.
Mm. You mentioned race-based policies being dismantled. I want to circle back to that.
Mhm.
How did that affect place-based strategies that were already working to close the capital gap in Black communities?
So I think that one of the things that we haven't, because we relied so much on race based, we really didn't get into the place based programs as much, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is an area of growth and opportunity for us. So I worked with a company that was in kind of the ABC XYZ of intelligence at one point, and I got them to be certified as a hub zone company because there were opportunities there, and it's a Black owned firm, but they needed that other certification. And because of that, now they're in a better place than if they had just relied on kind of the minority status. So we have to educate people about that and then push them and drive them into that space till we can figure out what's next.
That education is so key. I think even with the young people, I remember when I was in school, I'm talking a very small lad, we learned how to write checks.
Mm,
These children don't even know how to count money
right,
because they're like, "Mom, just cash at me."
right.
And they never have to do any calculations. They don't understand the fees involved. They don't pay attention to them, and they've become an early adopters of just pay the fees instead of paying attention to their own money. Greg, I want to really thank you for coming on to the Wake Up Show Chicago. Anything that we should be looking out for that you have planned for the next? Well, because we just made or finished our first quarter of the year. So,
Mhm.
any plans for the second quarter with Phoenix Strategies?
So we're continuing to grind here in Washington D.C. A lot is going on in terms of the budgets and what this administration is doing. Just big picture, we're trying to make sure that we don't get overwhelmed by the amount of BS that's coming out of this administration on a daily basis. So we're focused on kind of what are those niche target issues that impact Black businesses and how we can be helpful in terms of our advocacy for those firms and for Black businesses as a whole. That's what we're focused on in the second quarter.
Nice. Well, thank you once again, Greg, for coming on the show and giving us your time. I know that you only gave us a few minutes, and I really do appreciate it. You all are always welcome to come back and give us updates on Washington D.C. because you know how to drive it home so that our audience understands what's going on.
I appreciate y'all. I'll
Yes,
be in
thank you, Greg.
Chicago about a month. Be happy to meet with y'all. I'm going to be there.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Wow. So this has been a blast. I am Lorenzo, just in hearing the updates that Gregory mentioned. And oh, Greg, you can just hop off. You're free to go. There he is. Just in hearing his updates, it is such it makes you think, how can you pivot? Because I know a lot of times I'll say something like, why are we putting, I know we want to put Black on the things that so we can identify, but it looks like our current administration is saying, no, we don't want to hear it. We're tired of hearing it. And so it doesn't mean that we need to focus on being dismantled or twice removed. It means that we just need to do things a different way.
And I think what we forget is that historically, if you remember the trade paper, the Black Pages,
Hmm.
those pages or those notifications were out so that, and this is historically,
Hmm.
so that we would know the safe places where we can go shopping. Because if you remember, when you go back during those times when those trade papers was out, uh, when Blacks were given their freedom, we still weren't allowed to shop safely in certain institutions,
Right.
or we were being overpriced, or we were not allowed to shop in certain areas, especially at certain times of day.
Hmm.
And we couldn't enter from the front door, had to enter through the side or the back door.
Hmm.
So you had like papers or directories like the Black Pages to let Black people know where they can go shop safely and comfortably for their goods and services.
Yeah. And it's a shame that we have to recall that type of experience even from our ancestors. Our ancestors told us stories about the whites only and the Jim Crow era. And it's sad that we have a whole generation of people that don't understand that there's still something left to fight for. Guys, you can call us at 773-591-1690. We're live on WVON 1690 AM and on iHeartRadio. We're also on Facebook Live if you want to tap in that way. Make sure you put your comments in the comment section so that we can read out loud. And as mentioned earlier, Dr. Larry Ivory,
Yes.
our CEO and founder and chairman of the board in Washington, D.C., is out because I guess he's getting this little bitty thing called a doctorate. No, I'm kidding. You know, that's a big deal. I'm so proud of him, guys.
Yes.
So just clap. Let's do a soul clap and congratulate him when you see him out and about, because he's still going to be hitting the pavement when it comes to the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Now, speaking of hitting the pavement, we have an upcoming, and when I say we, I mean ILBCC, we have an upcoming event. It's another networking event in May. That event is May 29th from 6:30 to 8:30 at Let's Chill Lounge. Here's the fun part, Lorenzo. Let's Chill Lounge is in Calumet City.
Uh-huh.
And guess who owns it?
Who's that?
Dr. DeAndre Rucker.
Dr. DeAndre Rucker.
He is a proud member and the chairman of our construction committee. When I say our, I mean, again, the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. So what we're doing is we're having this grantastic networking event in May. We had one in the previous months. And when people have come out, because you've been there, people have come out and they are able to meet and greet with other business owners. We're not short of business owners in the chamber. These are members of the chamber. These are individuals that are just amazing in everything that they do.
I agree with you. And if you haven't attended any of the chamber events, I strongly advise that you really look into attending one of their events so you can experience the collaboration and networking that we all get a chance to experience, because we understand that being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur or a CEO of a business can sometimes be a lonely endeavor. And so what this does is it gives you an opportunity to congregate and to surround yourself by people who understands your journey and how to get to where you're going. Sometimes, like I said, the doctor's not in the house. Sometimes you need a doctor for your business.
Right.
Sometimes you need
Sometimes
business
the doctor
checkup.
needs a doctor.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what you're going to find at these type of events is you're going to find somebody who can help elevate your business, somebody who can move you to the next level of your business. So I strongly encourage you to attend this event if you have the chance and the opportunity.
All right. So let me give you some information, guys. In order to register for this free event, yes, I did say free, you will go to ilbcc.org and then you will head out to the calendar and you will see that it's located at May 29th. And once you click on it, you'll see a button that says register. All right, register. If you've attended any of our networking meetings, VIP cruise, yes, that's coming up in June next month. Please call in 773-591-1690. I have seen so much growth from each of these events. Someone's doing business with someone that they wouldn't have met otherwise. And that's what makes it so prominent for you to come out and enjoy being in the company of others that are on a business level that you're on. Let me see if I think we have a caller. One moment. Good morning. Welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago. How are you?
I'm fine. This is Mama D.
Hi, Mama D.
Hey, Mama D.
Well, to y'all God be the glory. First of all, one of our, as indigenous Native American Africans, one of our biggest problems is being just like everybody else when we're not. And Alderman Dorothy Tillman's disclosure ordinance was supposed to deal with that. Chase Bank insured enslaved people, made money off of them, and they were supposed to disclose those slavery ties and give us some reparations off of that. But instead, they put Brown on with us, and Brown people were slave owners. They were not enslaved people. So we don't have anything culturally in common with them, but they smash us up with all these other groups. What do you think can be done to stop that practice? Because it hurts us greatly as a people.
Well, I think, Mama D, first we have to realize that or you know how the song goes, they not like us, we're not like them.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have, and this is just my own speculation, my own opinion, Mama D, because I always respect you when you call in. It's a thought-provoking moment. But when we realize that we are just or should I say, a nation within this particular nation, the Constitution wasn't written for us. The laws of the land or any of the states were not really truly written for us. In fact, Lorenzo pointed out to me not too long ago about the exclusion law of Maryland. And it clearly states that anyone of color and their descendants are not to enjoy the fruits of the white man's labor. I looked that up, and we're talking about Maryland. And right now we have the governor of Maryland, who's a black man, not adhering to reparation requests. And everyone's up in arms because that was his choice. But if you look at a state that's mostly white and that has been their culture, then how is he to come in and shake things up? And we always expect that. But we have to realize that we need our own, should I say, Project 2025 and beyond.
And I agree with that. And when we get our Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, federal, states, and city police and other officials in order to protect our own, then we can go there. But everything was built on enslavement. That's where this country came from, was the slave-free labor for 246 years. All I'm saying is that we have a different citizenship from everybody else. We have never been made whole. And this is what we ought to be demanding. Everybody's got a color, including the color of snow, which is white. So it's not, if you were enslaved, if your mother was a slave, then you became a slave. That's how it was determined and passed on. But all I'm saying is we need to integrate with ourselves and stop putting everybody else in on our stuff.
You said it. You said it, Mama D. Thank you so much. All right, we have on the line Brother Ra. Good morning, Brother Ra.
Good morning, Queen, sister, and shout out to the illustrious Chief Mama Queen, Mama D.
Yes.
Been an activist for decades. But listen, I wasn't going to call in. I'm having breakfast somewhere at a McDonald's.
Okay.
A little coffee. But you triggered me when you said the absolute truth. We have to realize that we are a nation within a nation and do just like every other ethnicity group doing. They really know that they got their own nation and culture intact, but they getting all the resources off the government. There is nothing wrong with that strategy. We got to do that and see ourselves as a nation. But listen, this is critical right here. We've been over here for over 1,000 years and more. Mansa Musa, all the way back to Platonics and Pangea. You see what I'm saying? So we came over here in multiple waves. We the Olmec civilization. We've been over here. But like you just said, on paper, this is our lands morally, spiritually, and by right. But on paper, in the United States government, they still got us as 3/5 of a human being. This is not our country. This is our land. and we got to build our own individual nation right here and with Mother Africa. Shout out to the Honorable Captain Abraham Torre, because I am a Pan-Africanist. New coin I'm terming Pan-Melaninist, like Bob Marley and Haile Selassie. Love you, WVON family. And we are black, going all the way back to 20, 30,000 years in the pyramid text. Research it. Stop the nonsense. Negroes is 18-some term. Go back farther than that. We black people, the Lord of the perfect black, Lord of resurrection on the pyramid text. All this was prophesied on the pyramids.
And thank you, Brother Ra. And that's why we have the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Because one thing, and I have to be careful because this is the chamber show. So my opinions I have to be politically on point and in line with the mission of the chamber. But outside of my mission with the chamber, I feel that there's so many missed opportunities for our black people to get together because we're so distracted. We're so distracted by what we think is going on. And Marvin Gaye said it best, what's going on? If you really look at what's really going on, you'll change your perspective. You won't be distracted by the nonsense it's just the sleight of hand. Though the things we think are happening, all this dismantling, repealing, no one is really, they're paying attention to that while other things are going on over here. Mm-hmm. This is why I constantly bring up, while we're protesting in silence, not showing up to certain events or not shaking hands, what are we doing in lieu of that so that we can move ourselves forward? We don't need awareness alone. We need action. We need awareness and then action. And that's where the chamber comes in with everything that's going on. We did lobby day. And I know some people called in and said, you lobby throughout the year. Absolutely. And Larry lobbies throughout the year, but we have our lobby day where we go with a specific set of points that we want to bring to certain agencies about fair access to capital, or should I say contracts. And I love the fact that I'm learning as we go, because what I'm learning is I'm learning how to teach my children how lobbying works. I love the fact that our children they're in school, they're learning whatever the education system wants them to learn. Notice that I said wants them to learn, because they can take the books out of the school, but they can't take us out of the books. I don't understand why everyone's up in arms about it, but you still have access to get your own books and sit down at the dinner table and teach your children. But going back to the lobbying, the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is a constant working machine, 24/7. One thing I have to say, or several things, when we have these networking events, even though it looks like a lot of fun and an opportunity for individuals to meet with other business owners and corporations, mind you, because we do matchmaking. I mean, heck, I'm on WVON, and it's because of the chamber. I do this show every Saturday. Mm-hmm. Somebody had to hear me in order to give me an opportunity. So I give my shout out to the chamber, although Pierre Cooper, he discovered me. But long story shorter, I want you guys to really think about, while you're out having fun or having fun connecting at these networking events, because we make it fun, there's a purpose behind the fun of it all. Mm-hmm. Okay. And on top of that, the chamber is 24/7. It's always working, never sleeps. I've talked to Larry, and he has gone to bed at 3 a.m. sometimes. And he's not the chamber alone, but he spearheads the chamber's efforts and initiatives. There's a group, there's a team, there's committees, and you get to network with those committees. And we're networking at the Let's Chill Lounge that is owned by our committee chair, which is Dr. DeAndre Rucker. Lorenzo, you were saying something earlier, and I want to make sure you get your point across.
Well, I was listening to what you were just saying, and this is coming from someone who is new to the Chicagoland area. Mm-hmm. For those of you who don't know me, I grew up in Omaha, Nebraska. I moved to Kansas City and spent most of my time there. Chicago in itself is a textbook, Because see, someone who has never grown up in Chicago, we've only the thing that I knew about Chicago before I moved here was from what I read in history books
Mm-hmm.
and from what I saw on television. Now, when I got here and I saw the culture of Chicago, I had never saw so much black business here in the city of Chicago. It is its own black Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
It literally exists. When you come from a city where when you looking for black businesses, you got to drive across town and the black businesses are scattered out, and you move to a city like Chicago where you got black businesses next door to each other, across the street, down the block, around the block. I have never experienced that before. Chicago is its black Wall Street, but it's being able to be a part of a movement like Chamber to bring everyone together so that we know that we exist and where to find each other and how to inspire one another to circulate our money amongst ourselves. And that's the challenge, is how do we circulate our money amongst ourselves? How do we assist in aiding other young up and coming entrepreneurs and opening businesses that we don't have? Like if we see that we need grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
we need to inspire each other to open a grocery store,
Yeah.
even if it means funding it ourselves.
Ooh.
But it looks like we got a caller.
Yes. Hi. Good morning, Marcus.
Hey, Marcus. Marcus, are you there?
Marcus can't hear us.
All right, try
Good
now.
morning, Marcus.
Good morning.
Hey, Marcus.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well.
Good.
Doing well.
Welcome to
talk
the Wake
about-
Up Show, Chicago.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So when we talk about grocery stores, right, do you think that we need a anchor store to actually attract another business so that way we could start funding to actually build a sustainable grocery store that attracts? So that's my question.
So you're saying that do we need to use our own money to fund and build the grocery store? Is that what you said? Oh, we Muslim, but yeah, that's what he said.
Do we need an anchor? I would say yes. I would say yes, because what that's going to do, it gets the ball rolling. It gets the snowball rolling. And the thing that's going to attract our community is, like you were mentioning earlier, us or them not being like us, or us not being like them.
Mm-hmm.
We're not, even when it comes to dietary issues, nutrients. Our dietary requirements are different.
Yeah, but now black folks don't eat as healthy as they should now. However, I did notice some product placement in the black community early on when I used to own a grocery store. I want to go back to his question, Marcus. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for calling.
Indeed.
We used to have what was called a co-op in certain communities where the community bought into the grocery store. And if you use your own money for the grocery stores, Chicago has so many food deserts in certain communities, but a lot of that stems from economics. All right. If you look at economics, the foot traffic in certain areas has dropped significantly because people are either leaving that community or leaving the city altogether. And when they leave the city and the foot traffic is not there, grocery stores like Aldi and others pull out and they move places like downtown, okay, because they feel that that's a guaranteed foot traffic sustainability sustainable location for their grocery store, for their business. And because of that, the people that are left behind in those destitute, as it's deemed, communities, they become food deserts and have to travel across town just to get groceries. Now, I heard something super ridiculous once, and that was when Aldi left the Pullman area, that they promised that they would never leave, and then they did. And they left overnight, mind you. The shopping carts may have still been there, okay? You can see the tumbleweeds. And because of this, the community hadn't prepared for the replacement. So just like we boycott, but what is the replacement? We do this, but what is the option? So when a grocery store pulls the rug from under you, somewhere where you get possibly your medication or medicinal food agents that you need in order to help with your ailments, mind you, or you're just feeding an elder or an elder's feeding themselves. It's within proximity. They've built their entire and structured their entire life around this convenience.
Absolutely.
But when they leave the community, I heard the most ridiculous thing come from a spokesperson of Aldi saying they can just order online. Now, I don't know about you, but I take care of my mom and dad. My mom more virtually. My father, I take care of him in person. And I myself cannot manage, and I'm not as old as they are. I can't manage 5 my charts because when my kids turn 12, they got their own my chart. So that's 2. I got my chart. That's 3. My mother's my chart. That's 4. My dad's my chart. That's 5. So if it's hard for me to deal with a 5 my charts in my own house, how can an elder person just hop on their phone and manage grocery delivery services?
Right.
When that's not the truth, that it has been this way always, and suddenly I have nowhere to go. This happens also when drugstores leave. They also have some essential groceries. And when your elders can't get their medication, it's dire. It becomes an issue. So yes, to answer your question, you need to talk to your alderman. And when speaking to your alderman about the plans for the community, because that's what they're there for, ask them, hey, what are the plans for getting a grocery store in our community? If you have no plan, if there is no plan, or we don't have a solid plan, how can we together or come together as a community to get this plan rolling? Because being a food desert is not the goal. We have another caller. I know you were about to say something, but I want to grab them. Hey, M. Morris. Good morning.
Good morning, LaDonna. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for calling in. Welcome to the Wake Up Show Chicago.
Thank you for having me.
So what do you know about this upcoming event that the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is having and the VIP cruise that's coming up?
Oh, I know quite a few things about it. Well, our networking event at the end of this month is going to be on May 29th, 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. We are going to be at Let's Chill. That's going to be in Calumet City. And you guys will be able to check out the flyer on our website. That's ILBCC.org. And on our Facebook page at the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. And we're also on LinkedIn at the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. We will be having our monthly networking event where you'll be able to meet other individuals in and outside of your industries that are looking forward to meeting you and doing business with you. So yeah, please come out. We'd love to have you, but please make sure that you register once again on our website.
I was going to say you're holding back. Isn't there supposed to be like some pre-event stuff going on in the lot?
In the lot?
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes,
we may have a little kickback situation in the lot.
That's
there could potentially be, you don't want to spoil all the fun. You got to let them get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You were going into your next thought.
Oh, no, you're quite all right. So yeah, we might have a little something in the parking lot for our guests just to kind of help them wind down in the evening. And we'll also be talking about a few events that we have coming up later on in the year. Our VIP kickoff cruise, that's going to be
June 26th. Yeah, June 26th.
Thank you.
No problem. Hey, and you got to say VIP dinner cruise so that they know that they're going to get fed well.
They will be fed well. They will be entertained well. They will be networked thoroughly. So yeah.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's going to be the next large event after we have our monthly networking meeting at the end of this month, which is also going to tie right into our yearly convention that this year will be held at the Wing Creek Hotel and Casino.
Yes, so excited.
And we're very excited about that. I cannot wait to see everybody come out and network. We're going to have the matchmaking sessions. We've got some really amazing speakers coming. We've got world-class entertainment set up for everybody. We're going to learn about growing your business. We're going to do business triage. We're going to talk about funding and grants and things of that nature. And what we're really striving to do with this convention, as we do every year, is we're really going to be setting the atmosphere so we can change the ecosystem of Black businesses through education, networking, and business resuscitation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so look at this conference as almost as a Black business power conference, right? More like a revival.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do with our convention this year. So it's going to be an amazing time. Anybody that has a business absolutely needs to be there. This is going to be transformative for sure.
Mm-hmm. And now people can register for the annual VIP dinner cruise on ILBCC.org as well. If you go to the full calendar, the event calendar, you'll see it there, Morris.
Absolutely.
Okay.
They're going to have it on ILBCC.org. It may be on the main page, but it's definitely going to be underneath the calendar tab and the full calendar tab. And you are able to register for all three of those events.
Now, here's what I see. I see some times here. Looks like the cruise sets sail at 6. The general boarding starts at 6 p.m. and then it sets sail at 7 p.m. And the word promptly is underlined. You have any what's your take on that?
My take on that is be there or be square. Let's not work in anybody else's time zone. We are working in real time. We are moving in real time. And if you and your person are not on that boat,
we will be waving bon voyage.
Bon voyage. It would have been lovely to have you, but you didn't make it on time. I would say give yourselves plenty of time. Navy Pier, it's going to be summertime in Navy Pier. Navy Pier is a major tourist attraction, which means it's going to be busy. There are going to be a lot of other events going on. Get there early. There are tons of restaurants. Get there early. Find one of the restaurants, sit down, have a drink. It's going to be so much better to be early as opposed to trying to be late, because the boat, we will leave you.
That's right. We will leave you. And the boat returns at 9:30, and you were there last year. So thank you so much for calling in. I know you've got some type of open house going on.
What? The open house? Not I, says the cat.
Oh,
yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, thank you for bringing that up, LaDonna. Tomorrow, I will be debuting a brand new, beautiful Greystone over here, 4114 South King Drive. It's listed at $675,000, 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, 2,400 square feet with a two-car carport. It's luxury throughout. It's going to be an amazing time. We have music, we've got food, we've got drinks. It's all free. Love, even if you're not in the market, I would love for everyone, come out. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to host you and come take a look. Help me welcome this beautiful brownstone to the Grand Boulevard / Bronzeville community.
I'm there.
Beautiful.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Morris, for calling in. And we'll see you at the networking event on the 29th.
Perfect. Thank you, dear.
You're welcome. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Man. So we have just had an amazing, amazing show today.
As
you
always.
have any closing remarks before I close us out?
I don't, not really, but except for, if you are out there and you want to support a movement, I would definitely say support the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Again, someone who is new to the city of Chicago, listen, you guys have had a whole Fred Hampton who had a movement going, and when you look at these leaders and we try to look and see who passed on the baton, I would say the Illinois State Black Chambers of Commerce have picked up that baton and we're running with it. And we can't do what we're trying to do without your support.
I love it. Thank you so much, Lorenzo T. Hughes, filling in. I really appreciate it. And Dr. Larry Ivory, you'll be back next week with some credentials, man.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Wake Up Show Chicago. Big shout out again to Gregory Willis from Phoenix Strategies for joining congratulations once again, of course, to all of our members who are elevating. It is that time, your season. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Wake Up Show Chicago. Follow us on Facebook and call the Chamber for more info about upcoming events. And share this show. Tell your friends. And if you miss anything, catch the replay online. I'll also be back on WVON this Monday with the all-new afternoon show alongside Atiba Buchanan. So keep that dial locked on 1690 AM. Until next week, stay strong, stay black, and stay in business.
Yes.
Get ready to wake up to the pulse of progress as we amplify voices, break barriers, and illuminate the path towards a more inclusive tomorrow. Follow us across the socials at The Wake Up Show Chicago. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. It's The Wake Up Show every Saturday morning at 9, where change